warning signs that went right to his stomach. But he was also happy to admit if he was wrong, relieved when the shit didn't hit the fan, or at least didn't hit it as hard as he expected. This was not one of those times. First of all, Saturday night won out, with Cassie deeming the event too special for a Sunday, steamrolling her original selling points and boxing in Jeremy, who decided not to put on the gloves for that one. Second, close friends and family somehow morphed into everyone Jeremy and Cassie had ever met, or at least that's how it felt to someone, like Jeremy, who didn't want a party to begin with. Who was there? Joyce, Jeremy's mom. Dad, dead, more later. Still a force of nature at 84. His and Cassie's son, Matty, and Matty's new boyfriend, Sven. Or was it Lars? Cassie's parents, the cranky Rhea and contrary Henry. Cassie's adjectives, not Jeremy's. He rather liked them. You didn't grow up with them, Cassie would counter. Jeremy's editor, Lucian, and Lucian's third wife, Bonita. Cassie's lawyer buddies, Ella and Sunil, and Ella's wife, Jasmine. Cassie's best friend since high school, Valeria, and her husband, Norm, who was, one could say, Jeremy's best friend by marriage, or default. Though, strangely, the four rarely did anything together. And Cassie and Jeremy's new next-door neighbors, Katie and Crash. Real name, Cyrus. Wouldn't you change it too? Who were young enough to be their children. Well, if Cassie got pregnant in high school. Oh, and about 50 other people, which was around 45 more than Jeremy would have liked, and 45 fewer than Cassie would have liked. So, in her mind, she had compromised. Is everyone's marriage such a tug-of-war? Wondered the rope-burned Jeremy. Cassie never had to ask. She knew the answer was an unequivocal yes, and so be it. Without Jeremy's knowledge, Cassie knew he'd balk, and she was right. Invites went out to second-tier friends and neighbors, random cousins and co-workers, and assorted acquaintances, yoga classmates for Cassie, fellow film critics for Jeremy. Looking around the party, Jeremy could swear he didn't know, or didn't want to know, 3/4 of them. Needless to say, Cassie didn't cook that night. Bristol Farms did, and delivered, set up, served, and bartended. Maybe the bartender, a tattooed hunk with a heavy hand, was a separate line item. Jeremy never got to ask. And the gathering, which nominally began in their backyard, soon swelled, spread, and snaked throughout the house. There was music. A DJ friend of Matty's did the honors and appropriately played a lot of early MTV hits. But to Jeremy, and it should be said only Jeremy, it all seemed ridiculously over the top. That night he felt way older than his 50 years, especially when he realized his mother spent about quadruple the time on the makeshift dance floor as he did. The good news, there was no karaoke. Jeremy, despite the 2-drink limit he'd self-imposed ages ago following an incident involving mezcal shooters and a reunion of his writing students, kept topping off his wine glass all night. This, Jeremy later learned, did not make him the most amenable host, even if he did manage to banter with lots of people, most of whom wanted to know if he'd seen any good movies lately. Perhaps his least favorite question. He'd instantly blank on every recent film title, as if his reviews had been written in disappearing ink. The other prevailing question that night was, "Are you okay?" Which any remotely self-conscious person can tell you is a surefire road to feeling not okay. Somewhere along the way it also occurred to the birthday boy that he and his wife had not spoken to each other the entire night, and when they finally did interact, it didn't go well. Something about Jeremy seeming ungrateful, which he'd be the first to tell you, and not proudly, mind you, he was. What kind of asshole doesn't appreciate the kind of effort put out on his behalf, whether he wanted a party or not? That might have remained an existential, and, let's face it, totally fair question, had Cassie not verbalized it just so, the second the last guest exited their backyard. By then, it was also a contest as to which of the lovebirds had drunk more that night, with Cassie, as usual, holding her liquor better than Jeremy by a tipsy mile. This didn't make for the most coherent or effective arguing.